Hey, coach. So glad you found the video. Make sure you subscribe and like. Make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Let me help you put banners and national rankings and all those things in your gym. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It's a community of like-minded coaches. We just got off an hour and a half call. Come over and join us, and let's head off to the video.
All right. Welcome to the Basketball Leadership Podcast. Coach, how are you? I
We're at
think
the
this
end of
topic
June. I'm doing good.
put this topic for me because I've had 2 losing seasons in 37 years, and one of them was last year because we were all banged up. So I think you put this topic for me. Maybe we can have
For you.
maybe we can have some counseling. But anyway, welcome to the Basketball Leadership Podcast, and we are talking about how do you handle a losing season. I think it was, to be honest with you, when I looked back on this season, it was a hard banquet. I was so connected to these kids, and because we had gone through so much together that, yeah, I mean, I feel as connected with this group as some of my state championship groups. It's weird. And
Yeah.
we were, a game less than 500 because, I mean, I was playing JV players.
Yeah, you had a lot of adversity.
A lot of adversity.
Yep.
And it was good. They rallied. And they played one of their best games of the year. At the couple best games of the year at the end of the year. It was like everything was good, but it was just like, I think it's how you handle. I think this is a life lesson. How do you handle something bad that happens?
Absolutely. Well, you've got seasons like what you went through where you had a lot of optimism. You had you're gonna have a great season, and you had injuries and this and that, and all of a sudden what you thought was going to be and what your players thought was going to be wasn't.
It
And
changed. It's like we were preseason top 10, and then all of a sudden we're fighting. We're fighting for things,
yeah,
and it's like, and it's hard. And you know what I think they saw? They saw that, going back to a couple episodes, they saw the relationship we had. They saw that we were doing everything we could, that we hadn't given up, that we were fighting. And it's like the coaches were, if nothing else, we were leaning in more. Like, what can we do to help you guys? Like, and I think that got their eyes really big. And it's like, coaches haven't given up. We can't give up. We're going to fight through this, and we're going to hit adversity. And I just think that, I think how we handled it is 90% of how I feel, but also how, they reacted, because they're watching you, how you react.
we're the leaders as coaches, and how we respond matters. And I've been in the same boat. We've only had with basketball 2 losing seasons, and one was my one of my first years when I came back as my second stint. We had an injury right away, and we were just a little bit below 500. And another one, we actually won our conference, but we were 13 and 15.
Wow.
Yeah,
Conference wasn't very strong that
yeah,
year,
well,
huh?
it was split into 2 halves, and one
Okay.
half was weak, and so. But anyway, I've coached a lot of sports. I've coached a lot of different levels, and I guess my opinion on this is how I view every season is we go into a season and every team has a floor and a ceiling, right? And talent, I often say, sets the floor for a team, and then culture and leadership and all the other stuff determines the ceiling. And um, you know, sometimes you have teams where you're going to win a lot of games and you're competing for a championship, and there's other years that you maybe don't have that same talent. And I think how I view it is my job is always get the most out of the team we have each and every year. Dealing with adversity, dealing with things happen. How do I get the most out of this group? How do we keep ourselves together? And so the wins take care of themselves when you have that approach. I always focus when you have a losing season or a season that's not going like you want, to focus on the game within the game.
Yeah,
And
I like that. Yes.
I think when you're not winning a lot, you have to find wins. If you're not winning the final score, you got to find wins within the game, whether it's winning a half, winning the rebounding battle, winning the turnover battle, reducing the number of turnovers you have, taking better shots, whatever it may be. You have to focus on how do you win the game within the game. And you know that if you do that, the winning takes care of itself.
Right. No, I
So that's
agree.
how you got to get kids to shift their focus, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a huge one on little wins and setting individual goals for like your job is to go get 7 rebounds tonight, and your job is like those little mini wins, because you gotta.
Yep.
A game within a game is so important, because you win enough of those. We talk about lockdowns, getting 3 stops in a row. We track that. We do all sorts of things like that I think are important, because you're showing the kids what you're doing. Like, here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get these lockdowns. We've only gotten 1 lockdown. Why are we not defending? Blah blah blah. Whatever it is that you're tracking, I think that's super important, from a mental standpoint for them.
And I think we talked about this last week or two weeks ago on the podcast, but you have to know why you win or how you win.
You're right.
And you win by the game within the game.
Yep.
Like, we know the big 4, and I don't know if you've read the Basketball on Paper.
I have.
Napkin.
Is it napkin? Basketball and napkin? Is that it? Yeah.
Basketball on Paper. No, it's
paper. Maybe it's different.
It's
I've read
basically
both. Yeah.
they analyzed all the
big
games,
4. Yeah.
the big 4. Yeah. And it's a Wisconsin guy that I think wrote the book.
It is. It is.
But it's turnovers, it's
Dean Oliver.
Rebounding, Dean Oliver, rebounding margin, turnovers, effective field goal percentage, free throws. I mean, that's what it comes down to, and how you prioritize that. But focusing on the game within the game, I think, is something as a coach, you have to find those wins, and especially when you're in a losing season. You've got to build confidence in kids, and you do that by focusing on things they can control, and that's the game within the game.
Well, and part of it is you have to. It's what you emphasize is what they're going to do. Turnovers is like, and that's obviously in the big 4. That's one of my things. I can't respect, knowing what a possession means, and not you're going to have turnovers. I've yet to coach. I've coached, I don't know, 1,000 games. I've yet to coach a game which we haven't had a turnover in. But when they're low, we're going to be in the game. We are going to be in the game. Very rarely.
We've had 1 turnover in a game.
Really?
Just
That's
1.
Impressive.
Yeah. But it's interesting, because when I say you got to know how to win, this is where you really have to know your team as well. So this year's team, we're state runner-ups this year. We turned the ball over more than any team I've ever coached. But we also had more assists than any team I ever coached, and some of the prettiest assists you would ever see. But it's because of how we played. And so I had to sacrifice a little bit on how I typically like to play, because this team played fast and got out and ran. And
there's different types of turnovers too.
Oh, there are. And we could throw bad turnovers, the ones that go the other way for a bucket. But I've had teams that, my gosh, we averaged 8 turnovers a game, and we won with half court offense and half court defense. And then this team won in transition and won in, with defense. But you have to know, each team is different. You have to know, okay, this is how this team is going to win. Now let's focus on the little things, the game within the game, that we need to control, that help us win. And when you're losing, you need to just narrow that game within the game down even more.
Yes. And simplify it for them.
Yes.
We need to do these 2 things or these 3 things.
Yep.
And here's, I agree. But it goes back to, it's all, and especially if you're in a long haul, it's all going to ripple on how you're going to, how your other seasons are going to go. I am so excited about next season, and part of it is we were young and we were hurt. That's not a great combination. But now we're going to be a little bit older and hopefully healthy. Okay, well, let's go. And they're excited and I'm excited. And it's I think it's how you hand that reaction is important, I think, in how you tackle
Well,
a
and
losing
think
season.
with your group how much they learned last
They
year
learned a lot. They
about being
did.
resilient and tough. And now think how much more they're going to appreciate it. I know what got us over the hump this year. We lost a heartbreaker in the section championship game last year
Right.
on a buzzer beater. This team was not going to let that happen.
Right. So
Like,
it's like
when-
it's their motivation. Yes.
Yeah, when things happen like that, it gives you an edge, a chip that puts you over the hump.
I know. It really does. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else, Coach?
All good. Thanks,
All right.
Coach.
Till next week.
Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Actually, if you did, subscribe and like, and then go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.